thank you for tuning in. My name is Ibrahim Diallo, and this is part 11 of how to build a website from scratch. If you've been following along, well, congratulations. You've learned so much, I'm sure, from here. Today's episode is not going to be very complicated. All we're going to do is build a small section of the admin. At least we'll have a place where we can come in and say, here we can add articles. We don't have to go to the database like I've been doing earlier and writing code like some SQL in order to enter articles. But here we're gonna make it our little home, a place only for us, the admins. No users should be allowed in here, so that's why we'll need a login system and so on. But login system will come in the next episode, not this one. So sit tight and enjoy. All right. Today's episode, we're going to tackle this admin that I've been talking about. First, we're going to, the website is there. There's, well, at least it's usable now. You can add some content through the database like we've been doing it previously, and it'll still work. But today, we're going to try to explore that admin section. As you can see, I never give my admin a URL called admin or administration. That's just so predictable. I mean, you don't want to give access to anybody to have to brute force your server. I mean, sure, there's other protections you can take, other measures, but it's, at least I think the first protection is just don't let them access that page. If your way to get to your admin is admin, well, that's very predictable. So I just write some random nonsense every day. And it changes all the time. It doesn't matter. Like, this is my framework, so if I can make it change randomly all the time, like give it a set of keywords to follow, then sure, I can do that. But anyway, this will also be a good time to start creating a new, like once we create a new page, you will see the process of adding something new. For example, we added the admin section, a new admin folder, and it has its own config. We added a routes file in there where we can give all the routes for the admin. This is going to be separate for the other part of the website, and it's going to be the same process. We're going to have a routes. We're going to have a controller. We're going to have a controller called dash. I decided to call it dash controller just for dashboard. It's going to be very easy to do. Just those few folders, and follow the same recipe as we did before. Unfortunately, when I was doing it, when I was writing, I made a little mistake, a little typo, and as you can see, I couldn't find the problem. It was right there staring at my face, and I was looking at every single piece of information, and it just didn't work. If you notice right now, at the time, it's 4:23, and yeah, I'll be struggling with this little bug for a while. And it's not even a bug, it's just a typo. I wrote something different. Instead of writing admin, I wrote dash, and I didn't know what else to do. I was just struggling. And then, as you can see, I'm going crazy because I just couldn't figure out what's wrong, comparing every other file, going crazy. And finally, I decided to give up. I just shut down and left. And now, if you look at the time, that's 30 minutes later. I took a shower, went to refresh my memory and all, and once I came back, it was much easier to deal with. I fixed that issue. Anyway, back to the framework and the admin. It's a pretty simple process. We're just gonna create a few templates also separately from the others. And here we can have also an index.html, like for the default section. The default layout, and we can have whatever that pleases us. Here I'm just gonna test to make sure that it's importing correctly. I just go to hello admin and it works. And from there we can add the regular HTML we do. We add just the main body, the title, and so on. Nothing fancy. This part should be boring to you because you already know how to do that if you've been following along. And yeah, that's all that's happening here. I'm just trying to create some default things. Also, I thought it would be a good idea to start putting the layout for our logging system, because every the admin section supposed to be accessible only by you. And it's a good idea to have that section. We're not going to build it here today, but I'm just going to make this function right there in construct, because all our admin is going to be created in this file. So inside the construct, I want to make sure that it checks first if the user is logged in before it does anything. If the user is not logged in, then we'll create a page specifically for that. Also, once we're in the admin, there will be some information we'll need, like the stuff the user inputs. Like, for example, once you go and write a blog post, you want to see your title, your content, and so on. And it will be nice to have access to those variables from the server. PHP gives this, wait, is it the post or get variable? Um, I decided to go and create my own object called server, and it's going to make it much easier to access. For example, we can try to get a value. If it doesn't exist, it will automatically give us a false, or whatever, something like that. And I copied that for my for my blog, because I don't think it'll be fair to make you watch me type all this. It's like a bunch of little functions, like get parameters, get IP address, get user agent, and so on. All these little informations that are not necessarily fun to watch. But yeah, anyway, now I'm gonna test it just to make sure I can get my request. I added it, by the way, inside the container. Like I said, I want to make sure my code does not depend on any library, but the library can access other part of the library, which is the framework basically. And also, there's another thing that I thought would be very important to do, because right now we hard code all our links. For example, if I want to have a link to the homepage, I'm gonna have to create a link tag and then add the link myself. But that's not a very good idea. Eventually, if I want to make changes, I'll have to go and change a lot of things. What I want to do is just have a place called homepage, and every time I say get link to homepage, it will give me that. And that's also going to be part of our routing feature, our class called routing. And also, as you can see right now, when I'm getting errors, I see the stack trace, so I know exactly what went wrong. Like if I forget to include a class, it gives me, say, hey, you forgot. And it also gives me the trace exactly where I called the class that failed or something like that. So our error, even though it's not very pretty, but still getting there. It's getting more, it's useful. There you go. Let's call it that. Yeah, as you can see, our framework is not linear. We're not just starting at the beginning and going all the way to the end. We are doing parts here, part there, and moving along. I mean, creating a web basically of features at the same time. Like as I need features, I add them. And I think at least in the beginning when you're starting, that's how you want to do it. It's kind of very hard to design a perfect system without testing it. You want to have, like, that's why I'm building a website directly. I don't just want to create a framework that can do stuff, and then once I'm done with the framework, then I create the website. No, I want to do everything at the same time, so you can see the process. At least for your first website, when you create something from scratch, you have to go through this process. Now, if we were to build another website, let's say a shopping website, we don't need to go and modify the framework anymore. All the tools we need are going to be available, so we can just focus on the application part of the website. Since I copied some stuff from my previous framework, I mean, you can see some discrepancies. Some stuff were static. And anyway, that's the thing you notice every time you revisit your code. You see some stuff and you wonder, why the hell did I do that? And unfortunately, since I'm recording, I'm not trying to make some things really optimized and all that. I'm just trying to make things work. And yeah, so I'm not really touching those. I'm trying to find like the quickest solution instead of trying to find the best solution. And don't worry, that's how it works in the real world. Even when you're at a job, that's what you do. You find the quickest solution, because sometimes the best solution takes a lot of time. Then you have deadlines and all that. You have a manager yelling at your ears. So you want to get things done. You want to have result. And then when you have time, you can go back and refactor things. Um, Actually, I was lucky we had time in my previous company. We had time to refactor things. So sometimes I'll just go around and fix some stuff that were broken and or that we created in a haste. And yeah, so that's all I'm doing here really. I'm just refactoring, making sure that the old code I copied works with my current one. And also, you have to notice, you will, you probably notice now, the router is kind of complicated. I mean, I should make a separate video to just explain really what it does, because it took me a while to design it the first time, but now I don't even try to understand it. I just copy and paste from my, yeah. I don't want to deal with that anymore. Anyway, now we have our request object working. We don't really need it on the homepage, but it's nice to have it. And once we will have like, places where we input content, or we want to save something, like when the user finished writing a post and saves it, we can make use of that request object. It's nice to use this kind of IDEs because they give you autocomplete. You see, like, I can see the list of all the functions I created, and I don't have to memorize them. Sometimes they're just buried in a file really far, and I don't have to go and open it to see exactly how it works. I can just make use of that feature. Anyway, now the admin is starting to take shape. I'm just gonna make some basic layout. Um, I'm not even gonna worry about the CSS yet. I'm just gonna make it work. I mean, I'm gonna make it readable for now, and we'll figure out the CSS later. I don't have a design in mind, really. Um, well, actually, I do have a design in mind. It's gonna be very generic. Just header on top, links on the left side, and then on the right side you have the content. Whether you're on the dashboard, like place where you edit blog posts and so on. Kind of like WordPress, but less fancy. That's why I'm not even giving class names. I just know I'm gonna have a class there, so I don't want to bother myself with all these things right now. I'm just gonna create the section for it, and later we'll think about the rest. Here I'm just making a menu because of course we're gonna have a menu. I mean a navigation menu. Okay, so you can go anywhere you want on the admin. One thing I forgot to add here is a way to log out. I mean, not really that I forgot, but since we don't have a login yet, well, we'll get to that also in the future. Logging out is an interesting thing because it sounds very easy. All you do, for example, is delete cookies, but there's a little few things that I learned over the years that kind of became a hustle. Um, like I created a website where I had a way to just click on the link and then it just logs you out. So someone put an image somewhere on the page, and every time you access a page that have that image, you just automatically log out, and that was kind of annoying because I couldn't log in to do my stuff. He very clever guy. But anyway, so here's what I was talking about, where we hard code links. So here you see, I'm just gonna say dashboard, and it's gonna give me the link for dashboard. You know, even if it's just a slash or whatever. If I decide to change it anytime, it'll just work. Um, I don't want to be dependent on the link basically. So here you see, I just called it the dash. Um, Inside the template, I don't need to write that. I just tell it to print the dashboard title, and it will do it. And of course, I get a lot of errors. Like I said, these are not errors, they're feedback. It tells us what is going on and what we can do to fix it. Errors is what happens when you have no control of what is happening and just things just go crazy. That didn't I didn't define anything really. Anyway, yeah, so now I have the dashboard. I call it Dashmania, the link. It doesn't matter. Um, Also, I'm gonna make sure I populate all the other links to make sure they use the same approach. Basically, we can have one for the list of links. Sorry, list of articles, um, and another one for whatever, adding articles. And yeah, give it a different function name that's gonna be in the controller. And now I can update this information right here. Okay, this is starting to look good. Again, we don't have CSS, so it's just really the default browser styling. And don't worry about that. We're not gonna. This is not the final result. We just want to have something to work with. And for example, since each page will be using the same template. I'm gonna make sure I can, like, from inside I can call these templates, like, the first part, what's inside index.html is just the layout, and then we're gonna have a separate file for each pages, basically, where we can create something more custom for whatever the need is. As you can see also, I'm not really going in a linear way. I touch a little bit of here and then move on, go to somewhere else, and so on. It's you have to remember, we don't have a product yet, so I'm touching every little pieces I can as I go along, because it doesn't make sense to just write a bunch of stuff and then realize at the end it doesn't make any sense. I want to make sure that each part is there for a purpose. Basically, when I start writing something, uh, when I leave and go somewhere else, when I come back tomorrow, I know, oh, okay, this place is missing. I can this is there's something that's supposed to go there, and then I can continue. But if I just focus on one section and try to make it perfect, I don't know. At least that's how my mind works. It does. I'm just not gonna remember what else I should be doing. And you have to remember that when I'm recording this, it's not rehearsed. I'm just going along. I'm thinking of solutions. I'm trying to design things on the fly. So it's kind of a little stressful. But anyway, I decided to teach you how to build a website from scratch. I have to go with it. Anyway, so I'm starting already to design how the content is going to look like inside the page. Even though I didn't create those classes or variables yet, articles is not defined yet, or any of those. Nothing is defined. I'm just going to uh, write it the way I want it to appear, and next I'm gonna go inside the controller and create those variables. Actually, I have to first make a query to the database to get that information. I just want to have the list of all the articles here, and also they need to have a link that when you click on them, it takes you to that article and you can edit it. All you have to do is pass it the ID. And pass it the ID from the article object. I mean, it's not like I'm guessing here. The article object is going to be what comes back from the database. Um, like if you watched the episodes before, you saw that we already fetched a query from the database and got back some information. And this is what I'm doing here. I just want to get the data back from the database, make a query, return all the latest 25 articles. Then of course I made a mistake here. I wrote the variable limit 25 and I didn't even use it, so sorry. On the next episode I'll try to fix that and make sure I use it. So from the controller you can decide how many articles. Right in here I just hard coded it, so it's always all the articles. Stupid. Anyway, now I'm gonna make call that function articles, and of course I'm writing in the wrong place right now. I'm supposed to create a list of article function. Article is article list action, but yeah, I'm writing in the wrong place. But that's fine. All I need to do is copy and paste. And I'll do that right now. Create that function. Copy the content, remove it from previously, and there you go. This is the right place. Make sure I use article list template. Everything is there. And when I go to the page now, we have our links. All right, I didn't write that in order, so I reversed the order, and then now the names are wrong. There you go. Now we're good. All right, we have an admin. Look at that. I mean, it's not formatted yet. That little section in the bottom, list of articles, should be on the right and all, but it's fine. At least we have a website now, an admin section, and we can start adding more features as we go along. That's it really, and yeah, we're happy and we can move on we can move on with our life. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode. Hope you learned a few things. You saw how we can create a new section, the admin section, and hopefully in the next episodes we will learn how to do a login system, and log out also, which is different. It's going to be important. It's all going to be database driven, so sit tight and be ready to learn as much as you can. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.